So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Galaxy S24 versus the iPhone 14 speed test. Let's go ahead and begin with booting these phones up in 3, 2, go. And keep in mind that this is the Galaxy with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 designed for Galaxy. This is the US variant. It's a US based channel, so I'm going to be covering the Snapdragon. Then over here we have the iPhone 14 with Apple's A15 Bionic that was also found in the iPhone 13. And it turns on slightly faster than the Galaxy S24. Keep in mind the S24 has much more RAM than this phone. This one has 6 gigs, this one has 8 gigs, so a whole 2 gigs more for that phone. In addition, they are giving pretty good trade-in values if you want to get yourself a Galaxy S24. You can trade in your iPhone 14 and get, I think it's something like $400 off of this phone, which brings it down into like the $300 range, which is pretty insane for a pretty brand new flagship phone here. In the area of biometrics, if you just kind of look at this phone, you can do an unlock, although that's not my favorite method, but it's very fast. Just look at the Galaxy and it's right in. Now also you can just kind of tap the fingerprint like that and it just kind of goes right in very quickly. Now if you don't tap it long enough, like if you just go too fast, it'll say keep your fingerprint on the sensor a little bit longer. So it's not like a long press, but it's not too short either. So you can't just go like that. You have to just quickly go like that. But what I really like about this is that even when it's dark, the fingerprint works. If the iPhone gets too dim in Face ID, it actually doesn't trigger properly on the Face ID. So let's go ahead and take a look here, but we're in great lighting here, so it's not going to happen. Also, both of them do have like a lift to wake type of feature, so that's no big issue. I do like the convenience of Face ID though with certain applications like banking applications, for example. The Galaxy has that as well with the fingerprint, but I would say overall in terms of speed, the Galaxy is a little bit faster with that. Now in terms of the actual software, the iPhone still has a 60 hertz display, but it doesn't seem to matter because consumers actually still buy more iPhone 14s than they do Galaxy S23s. The iPhone 14 was on the top best-selling phones of 2023 last year. So even though as tech fans really want Apple to put a 120 hertz, and I think it would benefit everybody, I think even the people buying these would deserve it, you know. At the same time, it doesn't seem to really matter much at all. So, because it's still selling very well. But from a speed perspective, the Galaxy with its 120 hertz general UI definitely feels smoother. This looks kind of choppy by comparison, but iOS still overall very smooth. And when I say choppy, I'm talking about the way it looks in comparison to a 120 hertz scroll or even just kind of like swiping. It just looks so much smoother. This does have Android 13 over here. This does have Android 14 on board, and this has iOS 17.3.1. So we have arrived at the app test of this video. You can see everything is closed out for both phones. We're going to go into App Store, Play Store. And that was, I think, the iPhone, if I'm being honest. Let's go into Apps, Samsung. Let's go into TikTok. Pretty much the same. Let's head up out of here. And let's go into... Let's just head up out of here. Oh, by the way, I did download Good Lock and I did take off the double swipe gestures to make the iPhone or the Samsung actually compete better with the iPhone. And that's a feature that I would recommend all Galaxy users use, is the remove the double swipe. You'll see that in the RAM management, so stay tuned. Let's go into Twitter or X and you'll see that was faster to load the posts on the left. Some people say, Nick, these are just network dependent app launches. Well, they're both on the same network, so there's nothing really to say. Same server, same network. So, and you know, here's the thing. Oh, this doesn't test the speed. Look, what people do every day is they open apps all day. They're scrolling applications. They're launching things within applications. As a matter of fact, gaming, while it is very fun, it's not the most popular thing the majority of smartphone users are doing. That's why there's a niche segment for gaming phones. Let's go into Groupon. We launch apps every day. And that one wasn't ready. We launch apps every single day. We're going to do that again. We launch these babies every day. We're constantly in and out of them. And I want to see how they perform. The Samsung over there faster. Let's go over here. Samsung over there faster. Looking like we're getting like a quicker load. When scrolling though, Samsung Android phones in general contain that faster scroll. Let's go into Best Buy. You'll see, it looks like we have a win there on the left. So you can see that the Samsung can actually load applications and within applications faster there. It can actually load in the app things faster than the iPhone. And yes, I mean, here it's looking like it's making like a 1 or 2 second difference. Now, when you start adding that up throughout the day, you start adding up all those applications you're opening, I think it leads to a overall faster experience and speed on the Galaxy. And again, it's just one area. This is not a camera comparison. This is not a battery. This is a speed test. I would title the video camera comparison if that's what it was. And when I do my full comparisons, you'll see more camera samples and stuff like that. Samsung launches that game first. And this is an area where Samsung has actually become a little bit better than before. Was they would always lose in games. Nowadays, they've caught up. And the iPhone, you know, I talk about the Samsung because it's the new kid on the block. So don't think I'm not giving the iPhone any credit. It's still a really good performer. I'm just talking about this one a little more on the left because it is the newer phone. Apple does launch that phone or launch that app first. Let's go on to Geekbench 6. I think that was Apple. Let's cut up out of here. Let's go into 3D Mark. I think that one was Samsung. And again, I could be off. You can tell me you're wrong on that one. It's okay. Drop in the comments. Let's go into Subway Surfers. And we'll see what happens here for Subway Surfers. Launching first there on the iPhone. We'll hit play. Now, in terms of the actual experience, I do think the gaming experience is better on the Samsung due to a little bit better heat management, sustained performance, but also the smaller punch hole versus the notch. You just kind of get a little bit more screen as well with a 6.1 inch. Other than that, though, it's pretty much a wash. They're both similar sized phones. They're both pretty good performers. If this phone has an app you want and this one doesn't, it could make this the better overall experience. So it really comes down to stuff like that. You got to know which games you want and if each platform has them. Let's go into the InShot here. Faster on the Galaxy. And let's pop up out of there and we'll go into Speed Test Net. Faster on the iPhone. So overall, pretty close, but I would say the Samsung faster animations and actually within application when you are loading things up. Once you get in there, I feel like the Samsung has a slight advantage. You can see right there, it has faster network speeds as I've shown in previous speed tests, which leads to an overall faster performance of loading things within application, and then on top of that, it has the faster animations, but the iPhone still retains that buttery smooth feel, but this one lacking the ProMotion doesn't get as much credit as like a Pro phone with that buttery smooth feel, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, so within Good Lock, you can download this in the Galaxy Store. You want to download Home Up, and then you scroll down to Home Screen, and then actually not Home Screen, is down here in Task Changer. You'll see right here, allow bottom gestures in full screen mode. Now that's going to take away that double swipe on the landscape applications, as you'll see in this test. So we're going to do the RAM test here. We're going to go into Speed Test. We'll go into InShot. We'll go into PUBG, and here we go. This is going to be the first app. You've seen right there that it's basically the same now. Let's go into Subway Surf. Let's go into 3D Mark. We'll go into Geekbench 6. We'll go into Jetpack. And as we swipe out, you can see basically identical there. Jump Run 2. And with the non-linear animations with One UI 6.1, Samsung is basically matching Apple now. Let's go into Starbucks. Not quite against the pros, but especially against these base models. They seem to both reload some content in Best Buy. Let's go into Groupon. Let's go into eBay. You could see, let's go into Amazon. Samsung a little choppier there when we were scrolling on the initial scroll. Let's go into Twitter or X. Let's go into Instagram and Play Store, App Store. So in terms of the holding the applications, If you were planning on trading this, it's not going to be major improvement, but what will be a major improvement is that you have the same size phone and you can now do split screen. So if that's something you wanted to try out, that would be a big improvement. But even with the 6 gigs of RAM here on the iPhone 14 versus the 8 over here, we do get pretty close to the same performance. And with the good lock gestures enabled, this is basically as smooth as that, transition on the landscape applications. Okay, so the iPhone 14 is done, and it finishes with 2275 on the single and 5591 for multi. Now the Samsung beats it in the multi-core and is right there in the single core. So these phones right here, pretty close here overall in scoring, but they're not close in certain areas, but this is not the full comparison. Let's go ahead and do a 3D mark. Let me know if you want to see that full comparison. We'll break them down in detail to see which one, to see if you want to upgrade from the 14 to the S24. I'll be back when they're done with the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme graphics test. And so the final score is already done for the Galaxy S24. This has a 4204 and 25.18 on the frame rate, so very solid there. This also scores better than 90% of devices. Now, it does feel quite toasty, if I'm being totally honest with you. It says its temperature is up to 44 degrees Celsius. However, to me, when I hold it, it just feels quite warm and toasty. So we're still waiting on the iPhone, and this is very strange because usually I don't wait on the iPhones to finish their benchmarks faster, but I guess when it comes to graphics, the iPhone 14 is not even close. And there you go. The truth is it's not. You can see 2648 and a 15.9 average frame, and scoring better only than 59 versus all devices, 90% on the Galaxy. And yeah, so that's just really not great. So much better frame rates here for the Samsung. So I would probably pick the Samsung in terms of overall gaming. So one area they're not very competitive is the cameras, because the Samsung has so much more on offer in terms of versatility. But let's see how fast they launch. 3, 2, go. And I think the iPhone was in video. Let me just do that one more time. 3, 2, go. Samsung had the launch there. Let's do it again. I do it a few times. Go into camera. Apple on that one. I'll do it again. 3, 2, go. Yeah, Apple seemed to load the camera faster. Let's go to the ultra wide. Apple also has a smoother look when you're going through the lens. The Samsung looks slightly delayed. Just a little thing. In terms of the shutters, basically the same in that respect. So we're going to wrap it up here. The Samsung overall seems to have a little bit more technically powerful performance in the gaming graphics. The CPU is still extremely strong on the iPhone, which matters in day-to-day performance. So most users won't really notice because the CPU is still very good. The overpowered A series chips allows these to just really scream for day-to-day performance, even if they have 60 Hz displays. But I think if you wanted to go ahead and try Samsung and you were thinking about doing a switch here, I think you'll be very pleased with the Galaxy's performance anyway. So let me know if you guys want to see a full comparison or a breakdown between these two to help you decide if you should do that upgrade or not down below in the comment section of this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the one you think was the overall better performer here. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.